this just isn't working. Something isn't working. These kids aren't held accountable.
A 72-year-old woman is calling for action after she was carjacked in her own driveway. Why, she says, the teens who did it are not being held accountable. And there is a new push to increase transparency within the juvenile justice system. We're going to take a closer look at a new bill that is making its way through Annapolis. But first, a Baltimore City teacher is under arrest, charged with raping a child. Coming up, how city school leaders are responding as Fox 45 News asks what they're doing to keep students safe. Fox 45 News Midday starts now.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Midday.
Thank you for joining us for Fox 45 News Midday. I'm Shannon Lilly. Just in, Baltimore City Police are asking for your help solving a July murder that happened in Park Heights. Police just put out this new flyer as they search for the person who killed 36-year-old Sarah Durham. They say she was murdered inside her apartment the night of July 30th. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them at Crime Stoppers. You can also call the department's 24-hour hotline or submit a tip through the app P3 Tips. A $6,000 reward is being offered in this case. Now to a story that you are seeing first on Fox. A Baltimore City schools teacher has been removed from the classroom and suspended after being arrested on a rape charge. Charging documents show Mustafa Pitts is facing 7 charges, including rape and sexual abuse. The alleged victim in this case is a family member and a minor. Court documents show the city schools teacher was arrested at his home February 3rd. A source tells Fox 45 News Pitts is a math teacher. The school district confirms to Fox 45 News Pitts has been employed by city schools the past 2.5 years and was placed on administrative leave following his arrest. A spokesperson writing in part, quote, "Rest assured that city schools remain steadfast in our commitment to protecting the welfare of our students and staff." Pitts is being held without bond and has a preliminary hearing scheduled for March 5th. Continuing coverage now of the juvenile crime crisis. A Baltimore County woman is demanding answers and accountability after she was carjacked in her own driveway. 2 juveniles were arrested in the incident, but the victim remains frustrated over a lack of consequences.
And I'm still concerned that, these other people, anybody out there that's ever been carjacked, God help them. I mean, it is traumatizing. They need to make them accountable. And that's what's not happening.
2 teenagers were arrested in the case, but when the case of one of the suspects came before the magistrate, there was a problem. No one could actually prove the 15-year-old was the car thief. The court is expected to hear the case, the second suspect, next month. And as we continue to see calls for change to the juvenile justice system, lawmakers in Annapolis are considering multiple bills that could bring about reform. As Olivia Dance shows us, one bill would demand increased transparency from the Department of Juvenile Services.
Juvenile crime continues to be a major focus of this current legislative session, happening right here in Annapolis. And Baltimore Senator Cory McCray is now calling on the Department of Juvenile Services to be more open with the people of Maryland. The DJS Transparency Act of 2024 would require DJS to give the General Assembly a report every year, including the number of kids under DJS supervision in the last year who were shot someone else, or were killed, and also the age and location for each kid. Senator McCray says his bill stems from frustration with Secretary Vincent Schiraldi.
Whenever any non-fatal shooting, any type of homicide took place in my district, multiple juveniles were shot, I reached out to the respective secretary at that time. Tried my best to do that in July. Unfortunately, it went unresponsive.
Senator McCray's push for transparency comes at a time when the Department of Juvenile Services has been under fire. Names of offenders and details about juvenile cases shielded from the public. Sometimes even getting data is difficult. Fox 45 News combed through the department's data guide for budget year 2023. DJS touts 92% of cases diverted had no new sustained offenses within a year, but that's actually for budget year 2021, despite the agency highlighting the information in the executive summary. After demanding clarity from DJS, the public has to dig through more than 250 pages to find more updated data. A spokesperson from DJS pointing us to where the chart shows 30% of kids who had their cases diverted, meaning no charges brought, reoffended within a year. So that means the agency's programming has a 70% success rate in budget year 2022. So far, though, there's no opposition to McCrae's bill, just an amendment at the request of DJS to exclude kids who are under the supervision of the Department of Corrections. If this plan becomes law, though, the first report would be due by December 1st of this year. So far, though, there is no vote scheduled for this bill. For now, reporting in Annapolis, I'm Olivia Dance, Fox 45 News, Midday.
Thank you, Olivia. Well, juvenile services reform is a pillar of state Democrats' crime proposal. They want to cut down on the maximum time DJS can hold onto a juvenile case before handing it over to prosecutors. Another aspect of Democrats' juvenile crime plan focuses on extending the probation period for young offenders. Governor Wes Moore discussed his support for longer probation during a Your Voice, Your Future panel this week.
I stood up there with the Senate President and the Speaker of the House and many other members of the General Assembly, and I said that I stand for many of the adjustments that were being made. And those adjustments include things like, I think we have to increase the probationary period. You have to have a probationary period that's long enough for the young person to actually receive the supports that their probation actually calls for.
Now, if you missed this week's Your Voice, Your Future panel discussion, it will air tonight after the late edition on Fox 45. You can also watch this Saturday at 1 p.m. on the CW and Sunday at 7 p.m. on MyTV Baltimore. 11:07, and here's our look at today's top trending stories. Trending number one, an Annapolis police officer is recovering after she was dragged by a car. Police say the officer was investigating a car with stolen plates when the driver took off, hitting the officer and dragging her through a parking lot. The driver was later arrested and identified as 24-year-old Trico Medley. The officer suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Trending number two, Baltimore County officials are questioning Maryland's Department of Assessments and Taxation Director Michael Higgs after the department failed to send out tax notices to property owners on time. Each year, the department reassesses a third of properties in each county in the state to determine how much a property is worth and how much a homeowner pays in taxes. But more than 100,000 property owners across the state didn't receive those notices. The state says everyone who is impacted will have 45 days to appeal the reassessment. Trending number three, the Towson Roundabout is back open after being closed due to a pedestrian crash last night. The Baltimore County Fire Department says one person was trapped and had to be rescued. We're still waiting to learn more about the person's condition. Trending number four, the beloved Eddie's grocery store in Mount Vernon is set to reopen amid new ownership and a $286,000 infusion in state funding. Eddie's has been closed since June, citing pandemic issues and chronic shoplifting and violence happening at the store. Officials say security guards will be stationed outside the store to offset some of those safety concerns. Download the Fox 45 News app for up-to-the-minute traffic conditions, breaking news, and weather anytime. Just search WBFF in your app store. Calling all weekend warriors. If you are too busy to work out during the week, a new study is finding that only exercising on the weekend may actually burn just as much fat as daily exercises. We'll share the one caveat you'll need to consider when making a workout schedule. But first, a Texas school suspends a black student because of his dreadlocks. Why a judge rules that's not a violation of the state's Crown Act. And court resumes today in the Rust movie set shooting. Coming up, the charges the film's armorer is facing.
And showers are on their way out, with temperatures ending up in the mild mid-50s today. That's not going to last heading into the weekend. I'll explain how the weekend's going to feel a little different and when spring-like temperatures will return in a couple of minutes on Fox 45 News Midday at 11.
Taking a look now at your social stream here. The first trial linked to the on-set death of a Hollywood cinematographer is underway. 26-year-old Hannah Gutierrez Reed was the armorer on the Rust movie set. She's on trial, charged with involuntary manslaughter in the 2021 death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Hutchins was struck by a live round of ammunition that was fired from a prop gun actor Alec Baldwin was holding. He faces his own trial. People on X here responding. This person says, I'm surprised this is finally happening. Several people should be held accountable. Alec Baldwin is next up. And here's another one. Whole thing was a total unnecessary tragedy that they had live rounds or real arms at all near a film set is beyond me. Totally ridiculous and unnecessary. A Texas judge rules a public school district did not violate state law by punishing a black student over his hairstyle. 18-year-old Daryl George was given in-school suspension for breaking the school's dress code by wearing dreadlocks. George wore them tied up, but the school argued if they were down, they would have been too long. The judge ruled the state's Crown Act does not specifically mention hair length, so it was not discrimination. Some people, though, online definitely disagreeing here. Janet says, ridiculous decision, and there's nothing wrong with his hair, and there is certainly no legitimate reason to kick him out of school. And here's another one. Can you say appeal? AT&T says coverage is restored across the country. Users were knocked off cellular service for much of the day yesterday. The Dallas-based company apologized to customers, blaming the incident on an error in coding. Zay says the bill needs to be a bit cheaper this month. I know that. Here's Dan. AT&T had a nationwide outage, giving kids an authentic 1900s experience. What would we do without our phones, really?
Views, there's fenced, unfenced, so I just tried to experiment with everything.
All right, think of it as an Airbnb for dogs. Coming up, the new app that's letting pet owners rent backyards for their dogs to play in. But first, who should decide what kids can do online, parents or the state? Coming up, the new push in Florida to ban kids from social media, even if they have parental approval. It's 11:13. You're watching Fox 45 News, Midday. We are following breaking news at the Live Center. The White House says it is planning to impose new sanctions on Iran in the coming days. It's in response to Iran's efforts to supply Russia with drones and other technology for the war in Ukraine. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby notes the U.S. has not yet seen confirmation that missiles have actually moved from Iran to Russia, but says there is no reason to believe they won't follow through. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is heading to Ukraine today. He is expected to meet with President Volodymyr Zelensky and other top Ukrainian officials. This trip comes after the Senate passed a $95 billion package that contains about $60 billion of aid for Ukraine. 22 Republicans joined Democrats to pass the Senate bill. The House has not voted on that bill yet. Topping your election 2024 news, we are 1 day away from the next major Republican presidential primary. Former President Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley will face off in South Carolina tomorrow. The two candidates have been making last-minute appeals to voters in the state this week.
Nikki Haley is losing to me. It looks like she's going to lose by 25 or 30 points. That's a lot. She's governor, but people don't like her too much, and she's hurting the party.
60% of Americans are saying they think Joe Biden's too old and Donald Trump's too old. They're the two most disliked politicians in America. Why are we letting that be our choice?
Trump won the Republican primary in South Carolina during his 2016 campaign for president. Haley used to serve as the state's governor. Making headlines, Florida wants to ban kids under 16 from being on social media, even if their parents approve. A bill making its way through the state would also require adult users to prove their age. Similar efforts in other states have faced legal pushback, including in Arkansas, where a federal judge blocked a law requiring minors to have parental consent to use social media. Yale is changing its course and will soon require standardized test scores for admissions. The Ivy League school is bringing back standardized test scores after making it optional for the past 4 years. Yale said it will accept SAT and ACT exams, as well as scores from the International Baccalaureate and Advanced Placement exams. Dartmouth College also recently returned to standardized tests after a pandemic-related break. Coming up on the Fox 45 News at 4, who is to blame for repeat offenders in Baltimore? A judge weighs in as the mayor says he can't keep people in jail. Then at 5, 6 complainants ranging from off-duty assault to failure to appear in court. We're digging into the history of a police officer that was just indicted this week. And at 6, Baltimore is at risk of losing millions of dollars in federal funds, why some are sounding the alarm on an expiration date for ARPA money. It is time now for today's talking point. A new app is letting dog owners rent backyards by the hour so their dogs can play. It's called Sniff Spot. And the idea is that pet owners in large cities where they might not have access to a private yard can just let their dogs play. It's also being marketed as an option for people who might be on vacation.
Did it a couple times. I tried to do kind of interesting ones. So in Colorado, there's beautiful views, there's fenced, unfenced. So I just tried to experiment with everything.
Now the cost to rent yards is anywhere between $5 and $15 an hour. Mark Clark with Be More Lifestyle is here now. Mark, I can kind of see this going 2 different ways. What are your thoughts? I mean, I have a dog, so yeah. I understand it. Well, what do you think?
Well, yeah, and you have a decent sized dog. I have 2 small dogs.
Yeah.
So this is enough yard space they need. But
not a lot.
You can see, I love it. You can sell everything in America. You can sell anything in America.
I know. I was just seeing other apps and things where people who have hot tubs or pools will just rent out their you can just use their backyard for an hour. And while that's cool, I could just see that almost being a dangerous or kind of weird situation. But I mean, we live in a time of, Airbnb and all of that.
That's right.
So.
Weird. I got backyard space for rent right now.
Well, this could be for you, Mark.
And you know what? You can bring your pets, clean up after them, and also get those last leaves from last season that I left down.
Oh, so you want me to do work for you now in the backyard? I don't know about that.
You got a big dog. I see your dog in the park all the time. Come on over.
We could have like little, doggy.
There we go.
Pet, dates with our puppy friends.
Well, $7.50. That's how I'm gonna charge you. Because you're family.
Okay, that's not a bad deal. I appreciate that, Mark.
Sure.
All right, thanks. All right, we are starting to dry out from overnight rain. We need to get over to meteorologist Amy Aronson. And Amy, the storm did leave behind some damage, though.
Yeah, exactly. There was some hail reported in our region, so these storms had some oomph to them. Here's a look at some of that pea-sized hail. This is something you don't typically see in February. This was actually from the Frederick area, and then there was actually some lightning damage to this house here. So yeah, we heard thunder and we heard lightning. And if you heard it, you may have noticed it was a little louder than usual, and it lasted longer than normal too. So this has to do with how the sound of thunder moves through the air during the winter time. So what happened was we had an inversion in place. That means we've got warm air aloft, cool air at the surface. So as the thunder and the lightning moves through that cool air and approaches that warm layer, it actually gets trapped or stopped, and then it just gets refracted back down to the surface. So that's what amplifies the sound and makes it a little louder. Now it also lasts longer because that sound travels slower through cooler air than it would through warm summer air. It disperses much faster if the air is warmer. So that's why it was a little louder and a little longer yesterday. No more thunder, no more lightning for us as the system slowly gets its way out of here, leaving some trickling showers through our region today. Showers are on their way out, but we will stay cloudy for much of the afternoon. Temperatures in the mild mid-50s today. The cooler air behind this front arrives tomorrow, so we're back in the upper 40s. Plus, it's going to be blustery for the start of your weekend, making it feel even cooler. By Sunday, the winds will die down and temperatures end up close to 50 again. And then after that, temperatures are really going to warm up. So after a cool, wintry final weekend of February, we are back in the 60s starting early next week. And temperatures are warming with each passing day. So by midweek, it's going to feel like spring as we say goodbye to February. High temperatures will be approaching 70 degrees at that point. But that's also when our rain chances go up. And as our next weather maker moves in, we are dry Monday, but starting Tuesday, we'll see some showers rush back in from the west here. I think the heaviest rain comes late Tuesday heading into early Wednesday. Wednesday, we do get showers on and off throughout the day with the passage of that next weather maker and with that warm air too. So here's a look at all of our rain chances for the week ahead. Plan on showers returning Tuesday into Wednesday, drier with temperatures back in the 50s by the second half of next week. Shannon?
All right, thanks, Amy. Still ahead, just about everyone is feeling the pinch of inflation, even the tooth fairy. Coming up, the going rate for a baby tooth these days. But first, is New York City's RoboCop making a comeback? Ahead, what the city's mayor is saying about a possible return. It's 11:23. You're watching Fox 45 News Midday. Well, the New York Police Department appears poised to bring back its RoboCop. The department's robot was banished from patrolling the Times Square subway station after a pilot program ended, but now the mayor is hinting the robot could be getting a reboot.
We have another plan that I want to do with the K5. We have to really see how do we use robotics and technology to run our city more efficiently.
As of right now, officials are not elaborating further on what the future plans for the robot will be. Well, it seems the Tooth Fairy is feeling the sting of inflation. According to a survey by Delta Dental, for the first time since 2019, the Tooth Fairy is coughing up less dough per tooth. The national average has dropped 6% to $5.84. That's still a lot, but it's down from last year's figure of $6.23. Still, the price is the second highest value for a lost tooth and a 349% increase from 1998, when a lost tooth went for $1.30 on average. That's about what I remember getting. All right, that's all the time we have for Fox 45 News Midday. Be More Lifestyle is up next, and Mark Clark is back with a preview. Hey, Mark.
Hey, now we're talking about Baltimore City and everything it has to offer, from the sights to the sounds. Coming up, we'll chat about if the city is a loud one and where a new poll ranks Charm City among the loudest in the country. Stick around. Be More Lifestyle is up next.
You're watching Fox 45 in Baltimore. Now live from TV Hill, this is Be More Lifestyle.
And what's up, Baltimore? I'm Mark Clark, and this is Be More Lifestyle live from Studio A at Fox Baltimore. Lady T is here, along with comedian Ray Diva and meteorologist Amy Aronson. Good morning, everybody. Let me tell you right now, calling all weekend warriors. If you're too busy to work out during the week, a new study finds only exercising on the weekend may burn just as much fat as daily exercises. That's as long as you exercise for the same amount of time. The study found longer weekend exercises burn just as much fat as shorter daily exercises.
What?
Okay, Amy, what do you think? Amy's obviously she snapped back.
The snapback is real.
Snapped back.
She don't look like she had a beautiful baby.
I don't know. So I'm a daily exerciser, but I only get like 30 minutes because of the baby.
Good.
She naps for like 30 times, and that's my window. So I don't know. I'm a daily person,
smart.
not a weekend person.
So, okay, Amy, snapback queen.
Come on,
okay,
snapback.
So, Ray Diva, what do you think?
The devil is a lie. My weekend's is for gaining extra fat.
Agree, baby.
Extra fat. I want to be able to be happy on the weekend.
We like to curate fat on the weekend.
Yeah, save it up for the weekend.
Yeah, the weekend is definitely for the turn up. The only exercise I want to do is just bringing the food to my mouth. I don't really want to do very much. That's the most cardio I want to do. I want to dip into the artichoke dip, bring it out with the chip, and I want to
so good.
And then also another hand. We're going to do double time. We're going to have the margarita. Margarita in one hand, chips in the other. You got to rotate and rotate. And I'm getting all the extra. We're burning. We're burning.
You do the burn. Feel the wing. Feel the wing.
Right.
If Amy put all of her time on the weekend, so you'd be exercising 120 minutes on the weekend versus every day. So that's a lot. That's kind of
2 hours.
Yeah. So we want you to tell it. Do you exercise during the week, or are you a weekend warrior? Vote now on the website foxbaltimore.com/vote. When you get to the website, make sure you click the lifestyle tab. You can also vote on our Fox 45 News app. At the end of the show, we'll see what everybody thinks. Lift the wing. Now, is Baltimore a loud city? A new study seemed to say yes between car horns, beltway traffic, busy nightlife. The study ranked Baltimore the 13th noisiest city in America.
13?
So which was the loudest city?
New York, baby.
New York ranked #1.
Always.
That makes sense, followed by Chicago and New Jersey.
That's right.
And Newark. It's
Jersey, baby.
Boston rounded out the top 5. You know what's interesting? Chicago's interesting because it's the downtown area in Chicago is loud, but it's also kind of like quiet too.
Yeah, with the river.
It's kind of different.
Oh, it's a little bit of
New York's definitely loud.
Yeah, we represent. Yeah.
But Baltimore's kind of like that too. We can be loud, but at the same time, sometimes not so much.
I mean, I don't know. I think the drug addicts are more loud than anything in the city.
All right, well, we're going to take it back. We'll come back to this commercial. We'll be right back.
I'm practicing for this weekend.
Right back with this commercial break.
I would say like at M&T Bank Stadium.
Well,
like
during
for
the game.
that is like loud.
You're right. Because downtown Baltimore, I feel like it's super loud. Every time I drive through there, you know, whether it's to your concert at Royal Farms Arena or whatever, it's always loud in that area. It gives me New York vibes. Downtown Baltimore gives me New York vibes, of course.
Well, the good news is
loud.
our stadium is in the top 5, top 3 of experience, and that's one of the reasons.
Definitely. I can see that.
If you're a fan of online dating, listen up. Check this out. Tinder is making its verification process even more in-depth. It's part of a new attempt to prevent catfishing. In addition to taking a video selfie, users will also have to upload a photo of their driver's license or passport in order to get the blue check mark.
Oh, dang. Did Elon Musk take over?
Well, but,
did Elon Musk take over Tinder, too?
But shouldn't this have happened a long time ago?
No,
We're talking about
no.
dating.
There's no reason for that.
No, what I'm saying is you are who you say you are.
They're not.
No, that's what I mean. You can't fake an ID.
I'm telling you they're not.
No, but that's what I mean. That should have been the first thing.
Imagine putting your ID on Tinder and then getting swindled.
No, not your ID on Tinder. It's confirming who you are, so you can't catfish someone.
No, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, those hackers,
they're good. I'm giving you first-hand details. No, that's not what's happening.
That's what I mean.
So there was one guy on Tinder who I met, and he literally first of all, on Tinder he looked fantastic, and in person I was like, wait, I'm looking for someone else. Who is this? It was like 20 years before. His picture was 20 years ago, and he looked nothing like how he looks now.
And people have diseases that age them and make them look crazy.
Well,
it was so weird.
You were on the dating site Chicken Tenders.
Chicken Tenders. That's what I was on. I was on a knockoff, apparently.
I'm tired.
No,
we're gonna do this weekend.
We're gonna do this weekend. We're going back and forth.
Let me try to make my point one more time, Amy. We'll try one more time.
One more time.
Shouldn't we verify? Shouldn't that have been the first step in every dating site, so you know who the person is?
You're supposed to know who they are. You're supposed to
that's never going to work.
You are, yes.
With this internet being the internet,
somebody's
going to get through.
Okay.
She's right. Catfishing is real, unfortunately. It's real out here in these streets, and we got the struggle. The struggle, y'all. It's real.
She has some real first-hand experience.
That's why we keep coming back back here to you, and I'm always on this couch because of these men. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Well, go to chickentenders.com and look at Lady T.
Chickentenders.com.
Okay?
You done made something there. We got to invest.
Chicken tenders.
We're all about to invest. He done did something there.
Let me copyright it real quick.
Chickentenders.net. Do.net. Chickentenders.net.
Okay, Amy's got weather next. Ray Diva, where you going to be this weekend? Quickly. Now, quickly, hurry up.
I'm not sure.
She said,
I don't even know.
I don't have my phone with me. My Instagram is One Ray Diva.
Yes. Your Instagram is off the chain, and you will be offended. Okay, now, Lady T. All right, so still ahead. It's a personal choice that every family should get to make on their own. Coming up, how cremation memorialization is offering families new ways to honor their loved ones. That's a tough transition. But first, you'll never have to drive on a low tire again. That one is too. Coming up, the new at-home air pump that can handle everything from car tires to kiddie pools to chicken tenders. Stick around. It's Friday. Okay, it's Friday.
You're watching Be More Lifestyle.
Gina Gannon from America Steals and Deals is here with a handy tool to inflate everything from a flat tire to your child's favorite pool toy. Here's today's America Steals and Deals. My goodness. Thank you.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
Haven't we all been in that situation where as soon as you get in your car, that tire pressure light goes on, then it starts blinking, then you have to go to the nearest gas station, and you just hope that someone's there to help you fill your tires with air? Well, thanks to the folks at Never Go Flat, you don't have to worry about that anymore. This is your emergency 3-in-1 peace of mind kit, knowing that you never, ever will be stranded and you're always going to be prepared. That's what I love so much about this. So you can actually inflate your tire on your car, your truck, your bike. If you have pool equipment, if you have sports equipment, it's awesome. Even an air mattress. This does the job, which is so great. It also has an emergency floodlight, flashlight, blinking light. On the back here, it actually has a USB port. So it's just great that you are always ready no matter what happens. I was very insecure when it came to this kind of stuff, but now I don't have to be. So if you're ever stranded on the side of the road, this is your assurance for you that, again, you are good to go. Every year, there are 33,000 tire-related accidents. So this is your peace of mind. You give it to all your family members that you love, making sure that they are always prepared. And that's what the folks at Never Go Flat really want to see happen. So right now we're offering 31% off on Never Go Flat. Head to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer.
This Be More Lifestyle segment is sponsored by Shimunek Funeral Homes.
There are many ways to honor your deceased relatives, and it's important to have funeral arrangements that are right for you and your loved ones. With us today is John Evans, General Manager of Shimunek Funeral Home. John, you joined us a few weeks ago, and you're here today to talk about Shimunek Funeral Home's cremation memorialization. Why is it important for people to understand that?
Well, cremation memorialization is just a manner that we're going to celebrate someone's life when cremation is chosen rather than a burial. Cremation is not the event. The event is that time of gathering, and it's important to have for people to get together.
I love it. And so what should people have in mind when planning this?
Really, they just need to know that their choices are limitless. There can be a traditional type of service, or it can be more of a gathering with food and drink.
You know, I chose cremation for my mother, John. Now, you know, most people probably assume cremation service must be held after the cremation occurs. Is that true?
No, not necessarily. As I was saying, some people choose to have the cremation after a traditional service where there might be a viewing, a service either at our funeral home or their place of worship. And then rather going to the cemetery, we would take the deceased to our company-owned off-site crematory. In other cases, people want to do the cremation first and then follow it up with a gathering. But it's important that they have that gathering because we need that time to bring people together, to share, family and friends, to laugh and cry and tell stories.
I know people, you know, take an urn home after cremation, but it's also possible to purchase the cemetery space for the urn, right?
Correct. Yes. Our Dignity Memorial cemeteries have offerings such as ground burial, upright niches, columbariums, benches where the ashes can be placed. It's important to have a permanent placement, I think. Everyone is well-intentioned when they take the urn home, but time marches on and we have our own life circumstances, and those ashes become the responsibility of someone else.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Sadly, I really do. So for those who are interested in the possibility to pre-plan for cremation, just like funerals and traditional burials, can they do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Contact us at one of our locations at Perry Hall at 410-256-3600 or in Bel Air, 638-5360. And one of our team that helps families in advance will help them with all these decisions. We plan everything in life. The birth of a child, graduations, retirement. Why wouldn't we plan for this?
John, thanks for making this very challenging conversation very comfortable. Thanks again, okay?
Thank you, Mark.
Still ahead, the Chicago Auto Show is showcasing the hottest new trends, the new car trends, coming up a new look at the latest safety features and design choices companies are unveiling. But first, we'll introduce you to a local educator and entrepreneur who's being honored for giving back. Stick around.
This is Be More Lifestyle.
Kimberly Sally has spent most of her life serving her community, including creating multiple successful businesses, dancing academies, and a school. This weekend, she'll be honored being inducted into the Business Hall of Fame. She joins us now in studio. Kimberly, welcome to Be More Lifestyle.
Well, thank you so much.
Kimberly, Kim, K-Sal, K, Queen, Madam President, CEO. So tell us about the honor that you're going to get on Sunday.
Well, I'm super excited because they're going to induct me into the Business Hall of Fame.
I love it.
Yes, and I'm so excited. I'm just bubbling on inside because I have been in business over 25 years. And so some of the things are finally paying off. All of the things I've done with the children, the community, the schools, the dance studio, all of that great stuff. Then I just got a street sign in my name.
I love it.
So God is just doing some great things.
Well, we talked about this off the air, and I was visiting your school, and I was just so blown away by the quality of the school, the quality of your businesses, and everything around you. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, Dad, you're like, Mark, my father was a businessman. He's an entrepreneur too.
Yes.
So chip off the old block. So
yes.
you actually you grew up with that kind of mentality because you have this world-class dance academy where you go across the country and you guys win all the time.
Yes.
You got this world-class school. And so, how much do you credit your parents and your upbringing for all of this?
Well, definitely my dad, he was the first black business owner on Greenmount Avenue. He is still there. He's been in business 68 years.
I didn't know
and
that.
he had multiple businesses under it. He had two buildings with multiple businesses under it. And so he would do so many things in the community. I watched him, I worked with him through college, things like that. My mom she was an artist. She's Shirley Caesar's sister. So in the Caesar family, you had to learn how to sing.
Wow.
You had to learn how to perform. So all of those wonderful things and those qualities, I've been blessed with.
Okay,
my parents.
So Kimberly, you have really impacted this area and you work with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Give us, a lot of times we hear the negative, give us some positive about the kids in our future and then also what we can do to make it better for them as we wrap things up.
Well, one of the things is the children are very talented. They have skills. You can cultivate them. You can teach them how to have great morals, how to love themselves, love their parents, treat each other right. You can give them a good education. So if you can reach the kids, they are our roots. So if you can reach the kids, then you can reach the world because kids are our future. And it sounds cliche, but kids are our future.
And as we wrap it up, how can our viewers follow you and can viewers come out and see you Sunday at your awards?
Okay, so at the induction award for the Business Hall of Fame, it's going to be 3 o'clock at 6233 Kenwood Avenue. That's the GLA Soundstage, God's Little Angels Performing Arts Center. On this Sunday, 3 o'clock, they're going to induct me into.
Congratulations, so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, time for your best weather in America. Amy, is Amy over there? Amy!
Sure am. And we're actually going to head out of America up into space, Mark. This is pretty cool. Not sure if you saw it, but last night there was a landing on the moon. So this hasn't happened since the 1970s. Pretty cool stuff here. This is actually going to keep an eye on the lunar South Pole. So some new information will come out of this. This was big news last night, blowing up Twitter. Of course, this is the first time this has happened in about 50 years. So pretty cool stuff up in space last night. Closer to home, we're kind of looking foggy and dreary and misty down at the Inner Harbor. Got a little bit of light rain still ongoing right now. Temperature-wise, we're hanging out in the upper 40s. We make a run for the mid-50s today, so a nice mild end to the work week. Turning windy and chilly for the start of the weekend, but a taste of spring will actually follow for the final few days of February and as we kick off March. Here's the weather maker we're tracking. It's a weak one that's now pushing south of here, just sending us some lingering showers at this hour. Cloudy skies will take over for the rest of the day, and temperatures will make a run for the mid-50s. Tomorrow's drier, mostly cloudy, breezy, and much cooler. We're back in the upper 40s, and we'll stay in the upper 40s with a little less wind by the end of the weekend on Sunday. If you're not a fan of the 40s, next week is the week for you. The 60s are back. It's going to feel like spring Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're in the low 60s to start, mid-60s by Tuesday. By midweek, we are flirting with 70. Doesn't last, though. We've got another weather maker coming with the rising temperatures. We are dry to start off a brand new week, but here come some showers starting to trickle in from the west on Tuesday. I think most of the rain with this system comes in late Tuesday, early Wednesday, and then Wednesday a soggy day. So it's going to be the warmest day of the week, but it's also going to be a wet one with on and off showers straight through Wednesday evening. Here's a look at all of our rain chances in our full 10-day forecast. You'll notice the weekend's a little cooler, final weekend of February. Next week is definitely much milder. Even after the 60s wrap up, we're settling into the 50s Thursday and Friday, too.
This Be More Lifestyle segment is sponsored by Kia.
The Chicago Auto Show has something for every driver, the newest models and special editions, advancements in safety and technology, and even a glimpse into the vehicles of the future. Brian Moody, Executive Director at Auto Trader, joins us from the show live on the floor to give us a sneak peek at what the automotive industry has in store. Brian, it looks good out there. What new vehicles are making their debut at this year's Chicago Auto Show?
There are a few. We're here in the Kia booth. They let us camp out for today, and we're here for a good reason. There's two Kia models that have been updated. For example, the one behind me is the K5, a compact sedan with a new, more high-tech interior. Also, it has more power, even though it doesn't have a turbo anymore. So that's interesting. That's an interesting trend for gasoline-powered cars. Also, the Kia Carnival is a crossover utility vehicle or a minivan. They don't want to call it a minivan, but it kind of is. It gets a new look up front that looks like other Kia SUVs. And here's the big news with this. It can now be had as a hybrid. And hybrid vehicles as a trend is going to be more and more prevalent going forward throughout 2024.
Interesting. So speaking of trends, is electrification still the major trend?
Yes, that's the major trend. There's three ways to look at electrification. The first is a fully electric car. We would call that a BEV, or a battery electric vehicle. There's also PHEV, which is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, or just HEV, which is a hybrid electric vehicle. And those hybrid electric vehicles, they make their own electricity, so you never have to plug them in at all. You just gas it up and get excellent fuel economy.
Oh, that's hot. So what's the coolest thing you've seen so far?
Probably the Cybertruck. The Tesla Cybertruck is right over here, not far. It looks so different. I have a friend who keeps referring to it. She can't remember the name of it, but she calls it the robot car. And it does kind of look like a robot car. Like, it has a light bar in the front, stainless steel. It's got this cool automatically deploying bed cover, so that's pretty cool. It's worth seeing for sure. I don't know that I would want one, but it does look different.
Brian, are auto shows just for car shoppers?
No, I think auto shows are for people who are interested in what we're talking about, like just different technologies and different automotive stuff. Of course, for shoppers, it helps to look at a bunch of different brands all under one roof. I can see 4 or 5 brands right from here, and you can press the buttons, move the seats, open the doors, bring your family. You can do all that in one place with no selling involved.
I love it. So, Brian, where can we go to learn more?
For more information on some of the cars right behind me, you can go to kia.com, obviously, but you can also go to autotrader.com if you want information on car reviews, videos, buying and selling advice, and also how to get the best deal.
Awesome, man. Good talking to you, man. Have a good time, okay?
Thank you.
Take care. Still ahead, calling all weekend warriors, how exercising only the weekends may give you the same benefits as working out during the week.